We are Power 95, where music lives. Ladies' Room comes to you compliments of Renwick and Thompson Limited and Beacon Insurance.
Always be sure you settle for more. Get up to 35% off Beacon's fully comprehensive vehicle insurance and still cover a whole lot more. Enjoy higher discounts and better coverage for any kind of vehicle, car, SUV, or pickup with free loss of use, windscreen cover, and special perils. To sign up, call us at 440-4447 or log on to beacon.co.tt and settle for more today.
2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6.
Education multiplies their chances and places the world of opportunity in their hands. No matter where they are in the world, make sure they are prepared for their journey back to school with Western Union. School fees, books, room and board, whatever the reason. Knowledge, independence, opportunity. Western Union, moving money for better.
And we're back up and running one more time on this Wednesday, September 20th. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. If you're here, you've been here from since we started at 9. Good morning. I know there are some of you who just tune in for Ladies' Room and you just disappear. And then there are others who is here from start to finish. Thank you so much for making me part of your mid-morning and, of course, Power part of your day. So, like I said, I have a guest this morning. We'll be talking to him momentarily. But in the meantime, just want to take the first couple minutes to... Jackie, who is Lacqua? I don't know who you're talking about. What happening next week? What's going on with the person next week that I need to play your song for them? Listen. Me alone, okay? So, Lee, good morning. I swear, like you were put on earth to terrorize my spirits. Morning, Shante. Morning, come on in, guys. Betty and Duncan, good morning. Morning, Jackie. Morning, J. Douglas Adams. Mel, morning, bro. What up? How's life on the other side? Morning, Cindy. Good morning, Wayne. Della, good morning. Gluma, good morning. Kadina, Christine, who else is here? Jenilyn, good morning. Good morning to all viewers on YouTube. And of course, special morning to our listeners on radio 95.1, 95.3. And if you're listening online via our webpage, good morning to you as well. Hope everybody's doing fine. Morning, Colleen. During my love session. I have no love session. Morning, Dewey. Good morning, Ardon Kujo. Good morning. Shauna Dakota. Good morning. So, yeah, for the first 3 minutes, it's roll call. If you miss it after that, well, as old people say, chupo, whatever that means. You realize that over the years, you hardly hear patois being spoken, right? And that's because we don't know it. Because what our grandparents and parents did, they switched to that whenever they wanted to have big people conversation and they didn't want us to know what they're talking about. So it was a means for us to, mind our business. And when they died, it went with them. And it's sad because it's such a unique thing, Used to love to hear it. There are a couple words that I could pick up and understand because after a while hearing it over and over, you begin to understand the context it's being used. But we always talk about history and culture and we're big on this, big on jab, big on all these things are part of it. And I really wish we could, incorporate that into our schools, not right throughout the school year, but like for the first form, have because there are children who have no idea what I'm talking about or what their grandparents or great grandparents spoke about. It's like a complete foreign language. And be like, because when I tell my niece about that, she'll be like, what is patois? What are you talking about? So there's a lot of things that are dying, and we need to do some more to preserve it. All that is part of heritage. All that is part of our, rich culture and our heritage, not just wine and the jab and the this and the that. All of that is part of it. So I wish we can. Jackie, because you probably heard your mom and she probably told you what it means. So you're one of the lucky few. But anyways, Maureen, good morning. A lot of us don't know. We have no idea. We have no clue. All right. So come on in the room, guys, and share the live, and let's have the conversation. But before we bring in my guests, just wanna shout out the folks who continue to send in. Listen, I'm tired of answering these questions of if these. I have a good imagination, but I don't have that good of an imagination to sit every day to write these long stories just for writing a story's sake. No. People are actually going through a lot in relationship. When it's not wife and husband, it's husband and wife, it's boyfriend and girlfriend, it's girlfriend and child father and girlfriend, and people are going through a lot. And it's just so happen we have this avenue where people can, now open up and ask questions and, invite feedback. And I think that is better than people keeping it to themselves and stressing about it and, getting depressed and, probably harming themselves. I think it's a good way for people to open up. Yes, for the most part, some of you make fun of it and you laugh and what have you, but there are others who, really give good, solid advice on a daily basis. And I always say to the folks when they send it, I'll be like, listen, know that you may not get the response you're seeking. Some people, of course, with everything else, we're going to have some that will make fun of it, some that make fun of you, but don't pay attention to those. Yeah? Ignore those and pay attention to those giving the sound advice that you can use. Pay attention to those. So I just want to shout out the folks who, take the time to send in their situation, because you actually help other people. Because I've had people say to me, listen, like this morning, I met this lady when I went to pay one of my utility bills. And she was like, I try to listen to you as much as possible, and was telling me about the scenario last week about the man saying about his girlfriend not initiating anything in the bedroom and him always having to be the one. She caught that one. And, there are a lot of people who say, you know what, some of those things really hit close to home. It may not be the exact way, but it's close, or it's something I can really relate to because I'm currently going through it myself. And these are things, situations that can, it can definitely help you see things in a different perspective. So I want to shout out everybody. I know we're all going through life, and trying to make the best of it as we can. There's no manual on relationships. As much as you try to read up, no two persons are the same, no two situations are the same. So you try to go along and make up the rules sometimes as you go along and hope it works. But for the most part, there's a lot of people going through some hard times in relationship. And, some gone are the days when your grandmother and your grandfather were together for 50 and 60 years. And I said to them, while that might be a good thing, it doesn't necessarily mean it was a good run. It just means that they found a way to just deal with it. Grandma decided, you know what? I ain't leaving my husband from his address down the road. I fight up all these years. So I ain't really have nowhere to go. Back then, Mr. Sir used to be the one bringing in the money, going to work, and, grandma took care of home, and she cannot go back home when things went south because they would send her back in her husband's place. So a lot of it didn't mean, because people are together for a long period, doesn't mean it was a healthy, non-toxic relationship. It's just like that's the hand they felt life dealt them. So they just deal with it. They just went through the motions of being with the person, doing what they have to do. Doesn't necessarily mean they were happy. But now people realize, hey, I really don't have to stand and take your BS. I can bounce. I can, move on. I can choose me. I don't have to stand for it. I don't have to accept anything. While that might be an advantage, there are also disadvantages, because now you're saying people are giving up too easily The first sign of trouble, people head for the hills. First sign of a little greener pasture or greener grass on the other side, you immediately switch over to the other side. So there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. No two persons are the same. Whatever works for them, works for them. But life is already stressful. The sun hot, and to take on stress on top of that, man, woman, rat, bat, whatever it is, no can do. I'm sorry. So, whatever works for them, whatever works for you. If you're happy, more power to you. You're in an amazing relationship, more power to you. Yeah? Island Daddy says, I may not be the best of man based on my lifestyle, but I'm 100% father and a hell of a provider. I also have a sketch commodity, which is called scarce commodity, which is called love. That is good. It's good to hear men speak on, things like that. So, big up yourself, Island Daddy. Good to know. We need more of that. More good fathers around. More good partners around. More supportive partners around. Yeah? So, big up yourself. All right. So, this morning, our conversation will be with Teddy Frederick. And he did a documentary video on cannabis in St. Vincent. It's a conversation that, we hear and we've had time and time again. And we truly sometimes may not understand certain things. And we might ask, well, why isn't it this way or why isn't it that way? So I am guessing he did the research, did the groundwork, and here to speak to us about it. Also, there's a song that was produced to go along with the documentary. I'll try to feature it because I don't have the actual copy, so I'll try see if I can put it from YouTube. If it works, it works. If not, we'll have to get the actual copy itself. All right. So I'm not 100% sure as yet, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So with that said and done, it's not on YouTube. Yes, I am. Hold on, let me just check. Yes, it is. I'm not sure what you're looking at. Yes, it is. Yeah, we're also live on YouTube. Anyway, I got my guest here, and yeah, it's not confusion on man and woman. So y'all's guess, right? So let me see if I can. Let me just double check the YouTube. Yeah, we're supposed to be good on YouTube. Let's check and let me know. Anyway, Chatty, welcome. Good morning. Good to have you in studio.
Yes,
You
good
hearing me?
morning. I can.
Great, fantastic. All right, you guys hearing him clear? All right, good. So I was giving him a little prelude into what the conversation is about, and the documentary on the life of cannabis in St. Vincent. So we want to talk about that, and then we'll speak more about the song that you guys did. Listen, Teddy not here to look for nobody. He's here to speak on cannabis. But tell Teddy take off the hat. Let me see something. Listen, I swear I can't. Not today, Jacqueline. So Teddy, what's up? And I mean, I know you've been doing a lot in terms of videography. That's something I've always seen you involved in.
Yeah.
Now, speak to us about your involvement in this documentary.
Well, I've been moving through the region a little bit, doing some filming, and I'm always looking for a story. And I spent some time in St. Vincent doing documentaries in other capacities, and I've just find that one of the biggest thing that hits me when you get to St. Vincent is the culture of cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
And so after we wrapped up our documentary that we released year before with the New Land, the Kalinago Dream, I decided to kind of shift my attention towards St. Vincent because they're closer to us and it's a little bit more accessible in terms of movement. So I decided to try to tell a story from St. Vincent there.
I mean, you hear a lot about it. You'll hear about, cannabis being something that, anytime you hear it, you hear St. Vincent. so it's almost like one and the
Yeah.
same. So there's a lot, like I said, we don't to understand about the workings and the intricacies of it over there. So you doing all that, tell us about it. What were some of your findings?
Well, for me, it's really interesting because after spending so much time in Europe promoting the Kalinago Dream and looking at some of the reception from the trailer for Vincy Weed, a few things stood out to me. And even being involved in the process of making it, the conversations around, a lot of discrimination still exist. And one of the prominent things that we say in the film is, I think if we want to change a conversation, we could, because there is still a lot of people, incarcerated. There's still a lot of people who are being discriminated against. There's still a lot of people who are being held accountable for growing and stuff like that.
Possession.
But we still escalated the conversation to start exportation. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines do exports to Germany. And when I saw some of that in the papers, I was like, no, that's kind of interesting because they're so close to us. And there are other Caribbean islands that I've visited as well who have done that, like St. Lucia, some of these other places. And I just thought, like, well, why are we having these conversations, so these rapid conversations about exportation, and we're not really having conversations about the basis of why we actually got to this point of exportation. And so I just wanted to make a film that kind of delve a little bit into that, talk to traditional farmers, talk to the government, talk to the people in the lab, talk to the average people who are consuming, talk to people who are making products, talk to people who are into health and investment, talk to the schools, talk to the priests, talk to the pastors, because all of this to me is a reflection of the community and the society. So if all of them being affected by it, then why not just talk to everybody?
And what was one of the what stood out the most from you based on those conversations?
Well, it's an interesting topic because a lot of the traditional farmers, if you talk to them, their reactions would be a little bit more different than if you probably were to talk to someone at the the lab or the facilities where the government is doing their thing. And the farmers, they still feel like there is a little bit of danger on the water, and I mean, that is still possible because some of the other neighboring islands, they're not as free as St. Vincent, and liberal where marijuana is concerned. So when some of these people come to their islands and then they take probably some of their product and try to get it off, then there's still this conversation of danger that lingers, and I think it raises some concern because within their country they don't have these kind of feeling because they can farm openly and have these open talks. So I think to me that's one of the biggest takeaways, that how they feel about they can sell within their country, sell to government, just like if it's a nutmeg pool or the cocoa station. But the people who come outside of that space, there's still like this perception that lingers there. And I think if we restart the conversation again, maybe other islands would start to follow suit and maybe remove some of that danger.
Now you mentioned this, speaking to the planters, the exporters. From the export side of it, what does that look like?
Wow, I think like some of the farmers, when I listen to their stories, the ability to produce a lot of cannabis right now, they have this ability, right? Because some of them have their license and stuff. But the quality of the crop that they produce, I think because of how it's been traditionally farmed, they haven't had the opportunity to put much investment and much money into research. So they're not able to produce the best quality that is being the standard for Europe for exportation. And so some of them are still left with a lot of product on their hand, and the government is unable to really take a lot from the local farmers.
Now, in terms of how it works, they plant and the government takes over from that part, like they plant and sell to the government, or they are involved in the process as well?
Yeah, I think they have. I'm not too keen on all of the bylaws that restricts them for growing internal as well as for export. But what I can say is, from the documentary perspective, the traditional farmers, they have some stipulations, especially for their property and how they take care of their property. I think which makes sense. And then they're able to take their crop after a period of time and then sell it to government or get it tested for the quality. And sometimes they meet the grade, sometimes they don't meet the grade. Then what do? They can't really sell for people in St. Vincent because everybody they're kind of growing and they have their own farm and doing their own thing. And so there's another conversation about what do you do with it after 6 months, after 3 months, and knowing that the quality probably is not as high to the standards of government.
That's really interesting.
is very-
Something I really like to see firsthand, and of course, I'd have loved to walk along with you and have that conversation, because it's a conversation we've tried to have many times.
Yeah.
Here, and my friend Saisha has been very vocal in getting to some sort of legislations to be passed to allow
Okay, that's nice.
cannabis, and it's a conversation that we can continue to have, and hopefully we'll see us getting maybe to a St. Vincent perspective, because hate it or like it, it's something that a lot of countries are benefiting from, and
Yeah.
it's not a $5 industry. It's a
No.
lot of
And I wonder
multi-million,
why
and there are so many different spin-offs from it.
Yeah,
When we hear the word cannabis, we automatically think smoking,
yeah.
but there's so many things that can be derived from the actual
Exactly.
plant.
I think we can change the conversation.
Mhm.
Let's talk about all the products. Let's talk about all the health. Let's talk about all the fashion. Let's talk about all the art. There's a lot of things we could talk about.
Mhm. Listen, you can get paper
Mhm.
from cannabis.
I remember when I was in LA when the pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
they say they're locking off the airports for Grenada, and everybody has to kind of get back to their country or leave
Mhm.
or whatever. The cannabis stores are essential now. Yeah, and that's like just the medical store,
Mhm.
and the lines were very long, as
Of
long as the
course.
supermarket.
People are sitting home from stress. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
not about to deal with this. Let me.
No, but that's just recreation.
That's
I was
just
talking about the
recreation. What
medical.
about the medical part of
yeah.
it? Because there are many people who says it helps them with their anxiety, with mental health. There's so many things, and I think it requires not just
Yeah,
lip service or just bruising or just brushing off the top of the conversation,
yeah,
but going deeper and getting people who understand it, who's
Yeah.
involved in it. And like you said, St. Vincent is right there,
Yeah.
and they're involved. So we need to find people who can walk us down that road,
yeah,
and not just see it as something, okay, people are just going to be smoking and walking around walking around high, and there's a lot of myths surrounding it, and I think
yeah.
we need to.
Definitely.
And I'm glad that so in terms of the actual documentary,
Mhm.
what or where do you intend to take it? What is the sole purpose of it?
Okay, well, I mean, part of my mission as a filmmaker is to tell stories.
Mhm.
And here in Grenada and here in the Lesser Antilles, we have a lot of stories. And I think a lot of Grenadians who talk to me when I meet them on the street, or they see what we have done, they always saying, well, when Grenada making their own movie,
Mhm.
when we will make our own thing. And I think Caribbean people genuinely want to see things on the big screen that reflects them and looks like them. And part of that is they want it to also be made by people by them who understand their language and understand their culture.
Mhm.
But they still want it to look as if it came out of Hollywood, right?
Mhm.
So that we know that we know what we're doing. And so these kind of interactions just kind of inspire me more to keep telling more stories, to keep trying again, make the production bigger, keep
Mhm.
at it, and keep trying to make the story as comparable as the international standard as possible.
Mhm. And with so much talk going on about the creative industry, and making sure we have things in place for creatives like yourself, so that you guys can do more, because it is a pretty expensive but lucrative business.
Once done right, yes.
Equipment is not cheap.
No,
And you have to invest in your equipment. Every day something new comes out.
definitely.
And if you want to keep your game at a certain standard, you have to invest in your
Yeah,
craft.
and I think it's a little tougher for cinematographers because
Mhm.
we always have to be updated with new technologies as
Mhm.
well, as the formats for devices are changing, and so our outputs have to adjust to those things. And so you always kind of like can't stay like back in the time with some of the technology, and you keep having to update, upgrade.
Now, for the benefit of those who want to see the documentary, where can they find it? How can we,
Well, right now you can only see our trailer.
Mhm.
You can go onto Grenada Film Company and our Instagram page, our Facebook page, our website. And the film, I can tell you right now, is just a proof of concept. So we're raising funds actually to finish the entire documentary and to tell that full story.
Mhm.
So what you would see now is a full a proof of concept or a pilot trailer, really.
Mhm.
And people can reach out to me directly, or they can go onto the page, send us a message if they think they have ways
What's
that
the
they
name of
want
what's the
to.
name of the page?
Grenada Film Company.
Grenada Film Company.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody wants to assist in the production and seeing it through to the end,
Yeah.
they can. How can they contact you?
Well, you can message me through the page, and that will be fine.
Okay. So Grenada Film Company, anybody would like to lend some assistance, it will be welcome. So apart from the documentary, you also mentioned the song that
Yes.
goes with it.
Yes.
Tell us about the song.
So, when we make documentary, well, for me, grew up making music videos, right? And I just kind of grew up in that space where that was kind of like the easiest thing to get into filmmaking. And now, as I started making documentary movies, for me, I struggle with just putting people sit down and just recording their talking heads. And so I started this trend where I take my documentaries and I kind of turn them into a little music video. And part of that is I start creating the soundtracks for all of this. I'm writing the music and I'm also performing them, but I'm not taking it as serious as if I'm trying to be a performing artist. But I like to make songs that I think are dedicated to the films I make. So I think I can hear how the music sounds. So I just started doing it.
Amazing. So the song that's in the background, speak to us about the production.
Experience Lover.
Mhm.
Experience Lover came about. We went to the base of Lasso the volcano. And some of the farmers said that the ash there is really nice for their growing. And so we visited one of the farms there, and just to see the meticulousness and how detailed that some of the farmers are doing with their buds and the crop, I can see the experience coming out from, just the act of them sitting there and cleaning. And so some of these narrations from the interview, I took some of it and then my own observation, and then I wrote the song Experience Living.
Well, you're definitely an all-rounder. So you do producing, you do writing, you do singing. What else?
I'm a painter by education. Yeah, my formal education is in fine art.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Well, you're definitely in the right. So there's a lot for you in the creative industry.
yeah.
You dabble in almost any area.
And that's why we're trying to infuse all of it with all the productions that we do.
I mean, it's something we don't seem to take seriously in this part of the world, but I
Yeah,
mean, if you look at it, this is like not even million, $1 billion industry,
yes, ma'am.
because people love visuals, people love movies, So where do they come from? Who do you think produces them? Who do you think makes them? Who do you
Yeah,
think records them? Who do you think films them? So I would really, really love to see us getting more serious and not just look at things from a local standpoint.
yeah. And I
Because
think
I
we,
think that's the mistake we make with everything.
yeah, and I think we have a recent case study coming out from COVID that the creative economy saw a skyrocket because everybody's inside, everybody wants now a representation of the digital footprint to be escalated, right? Website designers, graphic design, everybody gets in a boom. So that if that is not a good case study, I don't know what is.
Well, you're in the right position and place to ensure that, we have some more of that. There's a million, careers and you can choose that, centers around, the creative industry and film and all of that. I just think it requires the right push and, being motivated somewhat
Definitely.
and having, of course, the finances to do it because this is a very, as well, while it's a lucrative industry, it's also very, very, very expensive to
Yeah.
maintain.
But I can share
Mhm.
something a little bit about that for people who are listening and they're wondering about how to get some of these things made.
Mhm.
The kind of mindset that I have and the approach that I've taken is sometimes I don't necessarily like we're working in the commercial space, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes that's how you kind of get money to do certain things.
Mhm.
But you can also go out and look for opportunity. You can also create opportunity. And I think with Vinci We, this is also an opportunity that we're trying to create. We went to St. Vincent on our own. We spent our own time. We saved up our money. We made our own pilot, and we tried to show people here is a proof of concept of what we can do. And if we raise the funds to continue to make it, then we can go ahead and make this bigger film, right? And maybe I could have sit down and say, oh, well, somebody need to hire us to make, documentary movies. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And if you're passionate about it, I think you have to make some active steps to actually making these things a possibility.
Funded everything yourself.
We funded everything ourselves, yeah.
That's
Because we,
love right there.
yeah, because we believe in the story and we want to see it happen. And now we ask the community to join us to make the full story.
Great. Alrighty, but Hugo, again, where can folks find you? Where can they view your material so far?
Well, most of the stuff we post is on Green FM Company. And for the music, you can check my artist page, which is not really my artist page, but my artist page, and Shinomi Music.
Spell that for the folks listening.
Shinomi.
Shinobi. I like the name. That's an unusual name. Is it
Okay.
an actual name or is it just like a stage name?
It's a stage.
I love that name. How did you come up with that?
Well, I mean, everyone knows me from my art, my photography, my film stuff. So because I'm not really trying to put myself out there as a singer,
Mhm.
I just created something so that when I put the music up online related to the films, you have a way to find it.
It's a nice name. I like the name. Anyways, Teddy, thank you so very much
You're
for
most
coming in
welcome.
and share with us this morning. And I really hope folks will reach out, because I think this is a very interesting way to get the conversation started so you can see firsthand, what it's all about, speak to the people involved so you have a better understanding as to what it's about. I think it's a good start. So I hope that we can have another conversation with you at that time, and it would be about, okay, here we are, final product,
Thank
and ready to view, and this is what we're going to do, where we're going to do it, etc. So I'm really, really looking forward to our next conversation. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the
Thank you,
studio.
Aruna.
Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for checking in with us this morning, and keep us posted.
I will.
Do you have any social media handles apart from Greater Film?
Well, they can follow me on Frederick Teddy and or Shinomi Music.
That's on IG, Facebook, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Frederick
Teddy.
Teddy. Yeah, surname name. Right? So guys, thank you so much,
You're
Teddy.
welcome.
I wish you all the best with this project. Right. So yes, as to you late, just to wrap up our segment, we were speaking with Terry Frederick, and of course, the cannabis industry in St. Vincent, the pilot project we started filming, and of course, would like to finish it up, and they require some of your assistance. So if anybody would like to help them, you can check out the Native Film Company and shoot them a message, so they'll be able to give you more information, all right, and how you can be part of this in one way or the other. So, guys, that's about it for today. We'll check back in the room tomorrow, same time, same place. Final one for the week. Welcome, friends or friends at Western Union and Beacon Insurance. Thanks everyone who stayed for the conversation. Yeah, you guys are troopers. That's when who really, really follows you and likes what you do, regardless of the conversation they're here. Thank you so much for that. So big up yourselves. And until tomorrow, we will, let's see, reconvene at 11 a.m. All right. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.